So, Tower of God was bad, not good. And if you were as disappointed with the Tower of God adaptation as I was, you're probably in no rush to watch The God of High School. God of High School, much like Tower of God, is a part of a small list of Korean webtoons, also known as manhwa, to get anime adaptations this year. Authored originally by Youngjae Park and picked up by Studio Mappa, much like every other fucking thing this year. I not only went into the series quite hopeful, judging by the trailers and previews I saw, but also wishing it the same success I wished on Tower of God. So far, the Crunchyroll originals have been a complete miss for me. But I'm not the type of person to judge a whole list of series based off of one I personally wasn't a fan of. So can The God of High School do what Tower of God failed to do and actually get me excited to watch it? Let's figure it out while we discuss The God of High School 3 episodes in. So listen, the story behind The God of High School is quite simple, or at least it's pretending to be at first. You have a competition where fighters are welcome to use any form of martial art, fighting style, weapon, you name it, and the winner essentially gets a wish of theirs granted, as well as being called the strongest high schooler. Like I said, conceptually, very simple. But if episodes 2 and 3 demonstrated anything, it's that there's a couple of things that this series still has down its sleeve. There are hints of a power system that they refer to as this. No fucking way I'm pronouncing that correctly, so there you go. Which at first seemed very reminiscent of a basic key system, like from Dragon Ball. But after episode 3, calling it a stand or a persona seems more accurate. There are also devil fruits in this bitch, so I am very curious to see how all of those things come together to form the power system. In addition to that, we have a pretty sketchy organization running the damn thing, so I have a feeling things will begin to unfold and become a bit more complex pretty soon. Let's not forget though, our characters have their own goals and stories as well, so let's shift our focus over to them and see what they add to the overall story. Character and character dynamics are two of the most important things to me when it comes to media, whether it be animation, live action TV, film, or whatever. As long as the cast of characters are strong and the relationships between them are different and interesting, there's a very high chance I'll like your series, no matter how garbage everything else is. It's one of the reasons Gintama is my favorite anime. Gintama has one of, if not the strongest cast of characters in anime, in my opinion, and the interactions and dynamics between the characters are so unique and interesting to the point where I think if you show me a script of two Gintama characters having a conversation, I'll be able to tell you which two characters they are based off of their dialogue alone. Now, Mori ain't no Gintoki, Dei ain't no Shinpachi, and Mira ain't no Kagura, but they're still pretty good. Episode 1 does a really good job of introducing us to our main characters through their actions, motivations, and basic moral system. Mori, for example, doesn't hesitate to chase after the thief once he imagines all the terrible things that could happen to Bachan without her money. Mira does not hesitate to support Mori after hearing him out, after he sends her flying by smashing her face in with a bike. And Dei, while he doesn't act on pure, raw emotion like the other two, he does do something when he sees he can. Definitely the most composed of the three, and definitely the most relatable, I think. Dei's reasoning behind trying to win the tournament is so he can earn enough money to support his sick friend's medical treatment. He even takes up additional jobs and additional hours in the hopes to ease the financial burden on his friend's sister, who is doing the same. We then have Mira. Her deceased father, on his deathbed, asked her to find somebody strong enough and worthy of inheriting their moonlight sword style, as well as reviving their family dojo. Then we have Mori, who wants to fight strong people. That's it. Yeah. Oh, what? You were expecting something more? No, not here. Look, the series knows what it is, and I gotta respect that. And to be frank, I'd rather him want to continue fighting stronger opponents than wanting to create his own harem. There's also the possibility that his grandpa might come into play sometime soon, as I'm not completely sure whether he's dead or not, but if he does, I'm pretty sure it'll just have something to do with Mori's desire to fight stronger opponents more than anything else. The way I see it is, we have two characters whose motivations can be fulfilled with time, and one character who just happens to be the main character, having a motivation that can reach the level of the gods and even surpass that. So it's pretty clear for me to see in which direction this series is going. And there's nothing wrong with a battle series. There's nothing wrong with this type of series or story structure, unless the battles are shit. Which, well, I'll just show you. So I'm gonna name this section Execution for the time being, cause I really don't know what else to call it. The main selling point of this series, ever since I first heard of it, were the fights. And there's absolutely zero hesitation in me to say that these fight scenes look absolutely phenomenal. Having one of the top animators at the moment in Keiichiro Watanabe for episodes 1 and 2, and another fantastic animator in Norimoto Takura during episode 3, basically guarantees you nut 3 times in the first 3 episodes. The effort going into this series is just palpable. The original author of the series, Young Jae Park, is known for having done research on the various fighting styles that his characters fight in. So comments like the one where they mention how northern style taekwondo is dirtier are facts gathered from research and not something he just pulled out of his ass. And the staff is not taking any shortcuts either. There's this really cool and informative behind the scenes on the Crunchyroll YouTube account that highlights the lengths director Sung-Hoo Park and his staff go through to make this series what it is. And the fact that Young Jae Park's opinion is taken into account is really nice to see, and it's great to see him enjoying the adaptation of his work. Look, I think most people have this idea that with this series, the plan was to go all out on animation and just Hail Mary the rest. And while I do somewhat agree with that, you can't forget that no matter how risky throwing a Hail Mary can be, they do land sometimes. The episodes have the fighting as hooks, but they're often paired up with other things that make the episodes entertaining or different. For example, episode 1 was just so much fun to watch. I love the bike chase, I love the fight scenes, but my favorite parts of episode 1 were all the little details included, all the little extra animations, people live streaming IRL, people reacting to the event online, the way the world just kind of stitched together perfectly, and seeing our characters react to events on a whim sort of made the episode for me. My favorite scene in episode 2, again, was not the fantastic fight sequence we saw, but the scene where Mira just slaps Mori. Up until that point in episode 2, we'd seen nothing but out of this world fights. Mori at this point has been kicked across the stage, he himself has kicked many people across the stage. But the subtle slap by Mira, another character who we've seen absolutely kick ass and a character that can definitely do a lot more damage than that subtle slap, carried more weight and dealt more damage to Mori than any of those kicks and punches he took. It was a real shock to the system, and I think that's why I liked it so much. Now see, episode 3 didn't have a moment like that for me. I think it was supposed to be the entirety of the day portion, including his conversation with his sick friend and his fight, but the problem I think I had with episode 3 was that I just got lost in the absurdity of it all, to the point where it began to outshine all the emotional aspects of the episode that were supposed to have an impact on me. If the plan was to dish out brilliant fight after brilliant fight, then they're executing that perfectly with each episode. But I think this team is striving for more than that. They've shown that they can handle the more emotional and lighthearted aspects of the series and even blend that in perfectly with the more outrageous parts of it. So I think it's just a matter of finding the perfect balance between them so that one doesn't drown out the other. So let me answer the question you've been asking yourself so much that it led you to watching this video. Should you watch The God of High School? I think if you're the type of person who only enjoys complex, intricate plots, you probably won't find a lot of enjoyment in this series. considering that it does really feel like they're banking on the fight animation a lot of the time. And while our 3 main characters each have their own goals and I can see future characters following suit, I do see them focusing on Mori's I want to fight strong people motivation a lot more. If you want to get into the series for the purpose of seeing different styles of martial arts, you might get that in the beginning, but it looks like the series is already looking to move on to some more fantastical styles of fighting. So I really don't know how long traditional styles of martial arts will be a part of this. If you're the type of person that cannot turn off their brain and enjoy something, and for some reason enjoys nitpicking things to the bitter end, yeah, probably definitely not the series for you. Now, personally, the main issue I have with the God of High School's anime adaptation is the fear of missing out. Every time an episode airs, I see fans of the series venting about how a certain number of chapters were skipped, how they didn't give context on this or that, and a shit ton of other things. Unfortunately, my favorite manga series, and series in general, is the Tokyo Ghoul manga series. So trust me, I know what type of content can be skipped. Character arcs are left incomplete. Some of the series' peak moments are left out for some fucking reason. And despite getting a quote-unquote full adaptation, you know that fans of the anime are missing out on a whole chunk of the story. Trust me, I get it, I understand, it happened with Tower of God as well. But the thing with the Tower of God adaptation, and I can see this happening with the God of High School's adaptation too, is that despite me not liking it that much, that doesn't mean the anime didn't have its strong points or that it didn't do its job. Personally, I see these manhwa adaptations as advertisements for manhwa and webtoons. And if an anime gets people to read the source material for whatever reason, whether it be due to an interest in how the story continues or a subpar anime adaptation actually pushing them that far, then that's a win in my book. Look, bottom line, I do think 3 episodes is enough for you to get a grasp of where this series is headed. I think it's going to turn into your typical battle series where the main villain or antagonist gets stronger and stronger as the series continues. Maybe there's a big evil and they work up to it. I don't know. And that's not to say that this series won't have its fair share of emotional moments or plot twists. Battle series are not exempt from having those, and having them or not having them doesn't automatically make a series good or bad. I just think that the story structure this series has so far is pretty common, and if you haven't been a fan of it, you won't be a fan of this. However, I could be wrong, and frankly, I'm pretty sure I am, which is why I plan on doing follow-ups for each series I do a 3 episodes in on, where I talk about the final 3 episodes of the series. Still don't know what that's going to be called, but if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. Listen, I'm usually the type of person that always talks about the positives in something, so this is quite new to me. So, if you have any feedback, at all, please let it be known in the comments down below or over on Twitter at ReWasTaken, where you can follow me and we can talk about a whole lot of other stuff, not just this weeb shit. Also, while you're down there in the comments, don't forget to let me know your thoughts and opinions on the God of High School 3 episodes in. Actually, 4 episodes in, because the 4th is out technically while I'm recording this, but I didn't watch it. So yeah. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a video and can continue watching a shit ton of anime with me, and I'll see you all soon. Later.